British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has joined a long list of government officials around the world who've been infected with the coronavirus. Just a few hours after that announcement, the UK recorded a sharp rise of the death toll in the country to 759. Meanwhile, Europe's worst affected country, Italy, has recorded 969 new coronavirus deaths, its highest daily figure in the outbreak so far. This means 9,134 people have now died from the virus in the country. Let's over now to our London studios, where Juliana Olainka has more on the COVID-19 pandemic and other international news in Around the World in 5.
Good evening from the Channel's newsroom in London. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson insists he can still lead his government following the announcement that he has tested positive for the coronavirus. The 55-year-old head of state announced the news on social media.
Hi folks, I want to bring you up to speed with something that's happening today, which is that I've developed mild symptoms of the coronavirus. That's to say, a temperature and a persistent cough. And on the advice of the chief medical officer, I've taken a test that has come out positive. So I am working from home, I'm self-isolating, and that's entirely the right thing to do. But be in no doubt that I can continue, thanks to the wizardry of modern technology, to communicate with all my top team to lead the national fight back against coronavirus.
In a shocking turn of events, less than a few hours later, the British Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, announced that he too had tested positive. Both politicians are now in self-isolation. There are major concerns that several of the country's intimate team involved in the COVID-19 emergency response may have also been exposed to the deadly virus. Wuhan City, which saw the brunt of the coronavirus outbreak in China, is preparing to reopen 6 key subway lines to the public this weekend. Another sign that the epidemic situation in China's worst-hit area is continuing to improve. The subway, which forms an important part of Wuhan's public transit system, was shut down on January the 23rd, when the city of 11 million people was officially locked down to contain the spread of the outbreak. Prevention remains a top priority. Infrared temperature sensing systems has been installed at subway stations, and only passengers with green health certificates will be allowed to get onto trains. Public gatherings of more than 4 people have been outlawed in Hong Kong after authorities reported the country's biggest daily increase in the coronavirus. The measures will be in place for 14 days, starting Sunday, and will see the temporary closure of game centres, gyms, cinemas and other places of amusement and public entertainment. Hong Kong has reported over 518 cases with at least 4 deaths. Despite Thursday's announcement of a nationwide lockdown, worshippers gathered at a central mosque in the Bangladesh capital city Dhaka for Friday prayers. Those present were greeted with hand sanitizer and hand washing upon entering the mosque, which held a special prayer for protection from danger. Well, there were similar scenes in Pakistan, where authorities are struggling to enforce restrictions on prayer gatherings. These worshippers gathered at a mosque in the commercial capital Karachi. The original lockdown order from authorities says that prayers at mosques should only be attended by 3 to 5 people, but police still allowed the worshippers to enter for prayer. Hundreds of foreign tourists, including 3 children, have been evacuated from Nepal. The group, which consisted mostly of Germans, had become stuck in the country after the government announced a week-long lockdown as part of efforts to contain the coronavirus spread. And finally, face masks have become one of the world's most sought-after pieces of protective clothing. And for employees at a luxury department store in Moscow, style definitely comes ahead of practicality. Before the shutdown of all retail stores in Russia this weekend, employees were provided with these stylish, transparent protective screens, so the boutique shop assistants looked stylish while also protective. And shoppers were not left out. The high-end department store also offered gloves and surgical masks to its customers as part of measures against coronavirus. And that's your international news around the world in 5.
There, Juliana. Thanks again. Sports News is next. Here's Jeffrey Uzono.
Thanks, Amaraja, and welcome to Sports News. The Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development has confirmed that the national stadiums will be used as isolation centers to curtail the spread of the coronavirus. The Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Mr. Sunday Dare, who confirmed this development via his social media handle, said they are in touch with the Ministry of Health and the National Center for Disease Control. The minister adds that the identification and fumigation will commence in the multi-purpose sports halls, gymnasia, and media centers located in the stadiums. The stadia are the National Stadium in Surulere, Lagos, Obafemi Awolowo Stadium in Ibadan, MKO Abiola International Stadium in Abuja, and the Ahmadu Bello Stadium in Kaduna. The Confederation of African Athletics has announced that the 22nd edition of the African Senior Athletics Championships has been postponed till 2021 owing to the coronavirus pandemic. Some of Africa's best track and field athletes were scheduled to converge on Algiers in Algeria from June the 24th to the 28th for the championships. The CAS said the new dates of the Athletics Championships will be decided later. The postponement follows the cancellation of the African Cross-Country Championships, which was to be held in Lomé, Togo on April the 8th. Now, tennis world number one Novak Djokovic pledged €1 million to help buy ventilators and other medical equipment in his native Serbia, joining a list of other athletes in the fight against the coronavirus. Serbia has reported 457 confirmed cases of the coronavirus and 7 deaths so far. Djokovic was in imperious form before the pandemic broke the tennis season and brought it to a halt, with both the men's team and the women's competition suspended till June the 7th. And that's it on sports. Back to you, Amarachi.
Thanks, Jeffrey. Nigerian music star David Adeleke, popularly known as Davido, has gone into self-isolation, so he says. He explained that he took the decision after his fiancée, Chioma, tested positive to the coronavirus. Ogochukwuosi has more on this and other entertainment stories.
Well, thank you so much, and here are your trending entertainment stories. Now, while a lot of physical activities, including concerts and premieres, have been cancelled owing to social distancing practice to curb the spread of COVID-19, a number of Nigerian acts have gone ahead to push out new materials online. At the top of the list is veteran singer and songwriter Lanre Fasasi, popularly known as Sound Sultan, as he releases his 8th studio project titled 8th Wonder. The 17-track album features collaborations with Tubaba, Falz, Wizkid, Tenny, and others. And speaking of Tenny, the Dr. Dollar Entertainment signee becomes the latest Nigerian act to jump on the freestyle session with hip-hop legendary disc jockey Tim Westwood. Now, the self-acclaimed one-take goddess gave a good account of herself over 8 minutes while singing and rhyming over instrumentals of Drake's Life is Good.
I know you say, put up in the base. Nobody come close and if you never let place. Alright.
What you baby, I got who? Meanwhile, the release date of Aretha Franklin's biopic, Respect, has been pushed back to January 2021 amid coronavirus outbreak. Respect, starring Academy Award winner Jennifer Hudson, was originally slated for an October release, but has now been moved to January 15th worldwide release. Deadline reports that it will, however, have a limited release on December 25th ahead of its worldwide scheduled release.
What you need, you know I got it.
But that's all for tonight. The News at 10 continues shortly.
And the main news again, Nigeria today recorded 5 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total to 70, even as the federal government issued fresh guidelines for international maritime operations, restricting entry of vessels until sailors are tested. That is the News at 10 tonight. Thanks for watching. I am Amarachi Ubani. Good night and stay safe.